Thanks, Team 2, for a great presentation. I hope this isn't too far afield, but in light of the current iPad debacle in LA Unified and the controversial issue of where funds can best be spent, I wanted to touch on the role of technology to help educators with formative assessment in light of this chapter. It's understandable, of course, that more traditional ways of accomplishing a daily formative approach to assessment that encourages learning are what we're comfortable using, of course. But I wanted to give a look at how these tools that I think might help faculty to use formative assessment very effectively, and even see the importance of formative assessment in their day-to-day planning by providing a consistent feedback loop of information that can guide teachers with input by the students to change curricular direction or emphasis quickly and efficiently, even to the extent that assessment becomes a learning tool itself and helps close achievement gaps. The logistics of technology in the hands of each student are really daunting, and we've seen an example of that just this last week. But I'm interested in your view of one of the many ideas that my administrative team and I are trying to implement, and a number of our faculty are using. The trick, of course, is to get school-wide buy-in, and not just on formative assessment, but assessment as a driver of class direction. And the idea of using formative assessment to make curricular change using the increased effectiveness of technology. Here's an example. With the use of a school-wide network, and because each child, of course, in the class would have a tablet or some device that would link them to that network, right in the middle of an assessment, the teacher who makes use of this can see how the entire class, as well as each student individually, is doing on the assessment as they're taking the assessment. So, for example, if a math teacher sees a significant number of students on an assessment are having difficulty with a factoring problem, she can stop the assessment and say, look, I've noticed you're having difficulty with question 13. Let's have a quick overview of that skill. And if one student individually is uniquely challenged, then the teacher can see that immediately and offer differentiated assistance to that student. The more informal day-to-day assessment on its face seems to me using this tool to be less threatening to students, because they know immediately what they need to do to succeed and successfully acquire and practice these skills. So finding those students who need more support, of course, is a real strength of formative assessment, because that knowledge is both crucial and time sensitive. Given the readings, I think this fulfills both William and Leahy's definition of formative assessment and Black and Williams by taking the information from the assessment and feeding it back within the system and using it to improve the performance of that learning structure or system. So as they put it, it can form the direction of the improvement. It's given the news this last week and all of the challenges facing LA Unified, certainly it's controversial. But I think if done correctly, it might complement and even enhance formative assessment, and is certainly worth consideration over the long term.